Ezra was just playing Breath of the Wild a couple days ago, and he's still like glitching things out. And I'm like, why do you like doing that? He's like, no, it's just fun. He's like, Link is just a head roaming around. I'm like, he's like, all right, now watch me drop the Master Sword. Like, you can drop the Master Sword because you've confused it. He's like, all right, and he drops it, and it goes back to like, its pedestal. And I was like, okay, why? He's like, it's just fun. I was like, okay.
Hey there, and welcome back to the Free Play Podcast. Once again, my name is Bubba, joined with Matt and Kate. We are a couple of the co-founders here at Love Thy Nerd and the host of this here, the Free Play Podcast. And today, friends, Hylians, countrymen, lend me your ears, okay? Last week, we talked about Super Mario and all of that was my best Chris Pratt.
That was good.
I love it.
I could do. All of the things that he gets and how great that movie was, at least for us, what we felt like it was. Matt, you didn't get a chance to say it, like it or didn't like it.
I did like it.
Okay. Rave review from Matt.
Peaches.
Which broke the top 100.
It did.
Matt, did I tell you that chord progression is Rickroll?
You did, yes.
I did. Okay. I think I might have mentioned that in our staff meeting. I
hate
went and watched a lot of videos.
And we all had to like make sure it's true.
That chord progression is the same chord progression, but like in a different key. On
purpose?
I don't
Never
think
gonna
it's
give
on
you up.
purpose. I don't think it's on
Okay.
purpose. Maybe. I think it happened. I think it happened
think
to a
it
line.
is.
We'll have to get Jack Black on here.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
And speaking of last week's, we had a poll that went up on the Twitterverse.
We did?
Because, you weren't there and you didn't listen, so you don't know what it's about. But Bubba and I had a poll
I usually see these things.
that we wanted to know, what do you think is next for Nintendo making movies?
Oh,
I said
voted
there's going to be 3 Mario movies total and then a Zelda movie, and Bubba said Zelda is next. Well, everyone agreed. Most people agreed with Bubba and said Zelda is next. So I guess
I said that too, but I was going to make a caveat that I think Zelda might be a streaming something.
Oh,
No,
you
movie.
think Nintendo will go to its...
I mean, they were supposed to. It was leaked and then Nintendo pulled out. It was supposed to be a Netflix stream.
Netflix.
thing.
Yeah. Oh, the live action one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was like an April Fool's joke or something like that. Anyway.
No, there
How
was an April
dare
Fool's
you?
joke
That
forever.
would never be an April Fool's.
I know. I'm only falling for that one every year.
So we got to talking about all that stuff, and there's a theory out there that's like the Smash Brothers initiative, where like there's a bunch of different things that can lead to what might hopefully be a cool Smash Bros movie, which I don't know exactly how that would work, because Smash Bros itself is not really like a
Well, they'll make it. They'll make it work. You know,
They'll make a story.
then there's
There
like
is a story. There is a story in it. You just
Is
don't.
there?
Yeah.
You just don't know
it.
about it
Yeah.
while you're playing.
Well, I
I
mean,
have no
I wonder
idea.
if it'd be
Yeah.
something like, was it Chippendale that had all those weird cameos? I mean, they had like ugly Sonic. Yeah. It's like seeing that, like they could have so many like weird, obscure like characters brought into Smash Bros. As well as our beloved Nintendo characters.
I mean, they've got Nintendo money. We talked about that last week
That
as
is
well.
true. That's
So-
true. But we're not here to talk about whatever Smash.
But
movie.
it led to this conversation of like, hey, cool, Mario, absolutely.
Yeah, sounds
What
great.
about The Legend of Zelda? What about our boy Link? Like, where is his time? And so I got to talking with some people about that, and they're like, oh yeah, I mean, Zelda, it'll never get what it needs to get. Like enough people don't care about it. And I'm like, let me show you my friend,
I think that's what I said.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Hey, how dare
Right?
you?
Well, Kate, you weren't the only one to tell me that. Let me introduce you to my friend Tears of the Kingdom, that literally a leak got somebody fired from GameStop. And so, like,
Well,
I think that it does have a little bit more clout than maybe we the people and or Nintendo are willing to admit.
They
So-
they skipped Zelda's 35th anniversary. They gave
sir,
Mario.
they
that is
did.
true. You'll never forget
Yes, sir,
that.
they did. Well,
I will
kind
never
of.
forget.
happened.
They skipped across it. How about that?
They gave me a Game and Watch.
Yeah. So all that being said, right? We want to. Matt and I, and Kate to some extent, big fans of Zelda.
Kate likes it.
I like it, but I'm not like
Big fans.
I've beaten a lot of games, but I haven't beaten Breath of the Wild. I
It's
gave
3
up
weeks.
towards the end. I just kind of like.
I kind of want to play it again before Tears comes out.
You have 3 weeks
I can do it in 3 weeks, no
from
problem.
today.
We'll start
No
now.
problem.
Start now.
Yeah, that's a podcast,
Right now.
everybody.
So
Yeah.
anyway, we want to talk about some Zelda stuff. Kate's got some trivia. We want
I
to
got
talk
so
about
much
Tears of
stuff.
the Kingdom.
I got so much stuff.
It's
planned.
all Zelda. All Zelda.
This is a jam-packed show today. Okay, so we're gonna kick it off with Matt. You actually retweeted something that got me intrigued because you retweeted a thing that said, "Date yourself by posting a game that released when you were 18."
Yeah.
And you said, "I feel fine," and you posted a picture of The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask.
You're right. I was 18 years old in the year 2000.
Yeah. So then I thought, well, what Zelda games came out when Bubba and I turned 18?
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay,
I don't even know.
So Bubba turned 18 in 2005. So there were no Legend of Zelda games that came out in 2005. So he graduated high school in 2004. So I went with
did.
that year.
I also turned 18 in 2004.
Then why did you say 2005?
Because he lied.
Well, you said what year were you 18 in? I graduated high school at 17, and then
My
in
gosh,
July.
come on.
Okay, whatever. Okay, fine.
Listen,
2004.
I talked about all of this in the text, and you're
No,
like, "Oh yeah,
you-
2004
you-
works better."
This- In 2004, there were 2 Zelda games that were released: Four Swords Adventures and The Minish Cap. Congratulations.
Ooh, Minish Cap, I'll take
Yeah,
Cap's good.
and I turned 18 in 2009, and Legend of Zelda: Spirit Tracks was released. I don't
Not a
know what
good
that
one.
is.
Not
So
a good one. That's
Not
like
as good as
low.
Minish Cap. Give me
That's
that.
like that's like bottom of the Zelda
well,
good game.
Mine was a
scale.
GBA. Yours was a DS title, right? Minish
Spirit
Spirit
Tracks.
Tracks was
Yeah,
that
it
DS?
was. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there were no other options for me. That was the only.
Well, when was Link's Crossbow Train released?
I don't know.
No, Kate gets this.
It's not on
she gets
here.
the CDI games, and she'll like it.
It's not on my list of things.
Did
So,
you, Matt? Did you see the April Fool's joke? Speaking of April Fool's jokes, that they were going to re-release the HD CDI games on Switch.
I did see that.
I
wish they would.
I kind of wish that they had done that.
People would get them. They'd be like, "These are bad."
Oh,
but they
I'd
still
buy
would've
it.
paid money.
Absolutely.
Ugh.
Kate, Link's Crossbow Train was released in 2007. So.
Oh, that's way too early.
You got to graduate early, Kate.
I was
Yeah.
not 18 then. So let's talk about Heirs of the Kingdom. I'm gonna try to not call it that, but I wanted to say one
Good
more
luck.
because it's funny to me.
Praying for you.
Matt, what are you excited about? What are you afraid of? What's your deepest hopes and fears? For
I
this?
think going into thank you, Kate, for
You're welcome.
asking. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, yeah.
We're from the time of recording this podcast, we are exactly 3 weeks away from the release, and thankfully, there's no free play podcast that day. Thankfully,
Well,
my
you
kids
marked
don't have
it
school
on your calendar that you would
Thankfully,
be
like
taking a day
all
off.
the stars are aligning for me to be able to spend a very long full day playing that game. Now, my fears going into, we'll say maybe 6 months ago, was that they would delay the game again. 'Cause we know that with Zelda and Nintendo, they don't usually give you a release date, and when they do, it's either, hey, it's available now in the eShop, or sorry, we're pushing that back 6 more months. Now,
Looking at you, Metro.
my fears are gone. Knowing that they were taking Breath of the Wild, which I love that game. I was laying in bed last night thinking, what are my favorite games of all time? And I definitively said Red Dead Redemption is #1 in my brain. I don't know if I have a better game than that. But then Breath of the Wild is right there at #2. And so going into this game, I feel like because they're taking that same kind of system, taking the extension of the story, this game will be very good. And seeing the 3-minute trailer and the other teaser trailers,
Oh yeah.
they took everything that people were doing. They took everything that was good from Breath of the Wild. They took everything that people were doing, and then I don't even think that they realized they could do, like just how they like people were making sleds and like little like jet powered things, like moving them across the ground. And like I don't think Nintendo thought, oh, these people are gonna do that. Like, but they also left it very much open to try to do things. So they took, hey, that went really well. Let's just let them do it and make it part of the story now.
Yeah.
Like, let's make it for real. And it looks like there's going to be dungeons. And I know a lot of people complain that there were no dungeons. And to me, I didn't need dungeons. I felt like the 4 divine beasts were good.
Shrines did a
shrines,
good job
and then you
of
had
keeping me
you
busy.
had, the 120. Yeah, you had 120 shrines, and you had the 4 divine beasts. So like, there's stuff going on, but I
5
think
if
that,
you got the DLC.
Right. So there's enough going on, but it looks like dungeons are coming. And from what I can see, and from what I can hope, it's going to be a really great game. And I'm ready.
I think, Matt, it's going to be a lot more complicated. I really truly believe that with the multi-tiered system, okay? So like multi-tiers, and like you've got stuff on ground level and then stuff in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
I think, and like the building aspect of it, being able or even sometimes needing to build vehicles.
Yeah.
I think that what that's going to do.
It's gonna be battle bots. It's gonna be battle bots, man.
Battle bots.
Yeah. I think you're
that's
right.
going to increase the skill gap.
It's going to increase the skill gap, but it may also bring in some other players that I feel like the crafting mechanic has really come a long way in the past, we'll say 10-ish years. Like a lot of games have some type of crafting mechanic now. And I really think Minecraft kind of like was the one that really pushed it forward. And so I think that like building and crafting, people want that in games. Like look at even like Fallout 4. You could build and craft so much stuff, and I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I feel like it looks like they've done it in a way that makes sense, that you're gonna want to do it more, probably.
Well, and it helps to preserve what I felt was the biggest issue in Breath of the Wild, which was your weapons breaking so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't have that problem. I didn't care because it made me get better. Okay, I say I didn't care. They did break it in opportune times, but it just kind of seemed like real life in some regards. Like this weapon's not going to last me, 100 battles.
Not with that attitude.
Exactly. So it didn't bother me as much, but it made me utilize and use other weapons and try other stuff to see if it worked.
I mean, obviously, we went through and beat the game and played so much of it, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't great job.
It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't debilitating. But I think that they took an issue, a weak spot in the game, and have found a way to improve it and also grow it in a completely different direction,
Yep. I'm in.
And that 3-minute trailer is not even coming close to probably the kinds of things that you will be able to craft.
Oh, I know. They're not going to give it all away. They're going to make you work for it. We're going to see some YouTube videos of some crazy, wild things. Like Ezra was just playing Breath of the Wild a couple days ago, and he's still like glitching things out. And I'm like, why do you like doing that? He's like, no, it's just fun. He's like, Link is just a head roaming around. I'm like, he's like, all right, now watch me drop the Master Sword. Like you can drop the Master Sword because you've confused it. He's like, all right, and he drops it, and it goes back to like its pedestal. And I was like, okay, why? He's like, it's just fun. I was like, okay. I like watched Avon and Ezra like glitching out of like the map and like just going into like nowhere. I'm like, I'm not interested in doing this. I just want to play the game.
Kids these days, I'll never understand.
I know, kids these days. So in case anybody hasn't caught up to date on the latest trailers and info and news and things about the game, here is just a couple of the new things that you'll be able to do, which you guys touched on some of these, but I'm just going over them in case.
Let's lay it out.
So put it all out there. You will be able to build air, water, and land vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
You will have a new ability to rewind objects around the world. You will have a new ability to ascend upwards through ceilings. You will be able to fight along companions like Prince, whatever his name is.
Sidon.
From Breath of the Wild. There was a nice little screenshot clip thing of that. So having more companions around instead of it. And what they said in that clip that I watched was Breath of the Wild was kind of a lonely experience in that it's Link in this massive world doing Link things all by his lonesome. And so the idea of having companions around was kind of cool and different and a different take on it. And then they also touched on...
I need to be able to play this game with Matt.
Oh.
That's what I need.
Well...
Can I be Lonk, or do you want to be Lonk?
You can be whatever. So, Breath of the Wild just had that fan-made multiplayer thing that came out.
Yep.
And it got immediately shut down. Immediately. Shut down so quick, it kind of makes me wonder if it's in Tears of the Kingdom. like that kind of.
I looked into that afterwards, and they're like, it is not going to be a multiplayer game.
Well, of course they would say that to throw you off the scent.
Yeah, Pretendo likes to lie to me a little bit. Yeah.
So, but that's a good point. Maybe there's a way to bring real life companions in the game, so you don't need these
like
fake
my
friends.
cat. Oh, my cat.
Why?
Oh, not that kind of companion.
Oh yeah, no,
maybe
not Remus. And then you have the whole crafting more items through the fuse crafting mechanic. So different arrows, different weapons like hammers, shields, rafts, tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Which was
BattleBots. Yeah,
that was a pretty interesting thing there. I liked that. That was cool. So I think it's going to be an interesting release. I'm most interested to see what you think of it, Matt, and if it is fun for you. I mean, I know you're going to like it, but it's like I'm interested to see where it ranks in terms of Breath of the Wild, and is it a contender for your favorite game of all time, which I don't think it will be.
You don't think it will be?
No, I don't think anything could unseat Red Dead 2.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I don't think Zelda is going to be able to unseat Red Dead 2. I don't.
I think that you underestimate Matt's attachment.
I know, but look, even he put Breath of the Wild below Red Dead 2.
Yeah, I don't know why.
He was just in a hockey game that day, and he hit his head really hard.
No, you liked it. You liked it. It was just a different type of story, is all.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, I think Zelda games, for the most part, I'm gonna like almost all of them. Now, there are a few like Phantom or Spirit Tracks. And I didn't like Skyward Sword, which I think this game's gonna be building a lot off of Skyward Sword and that lore.
Fixes.
Right. So I think that. I don't know. I'm probably gonna really enjoy it.
I'm sure
I'm probably gonna love it. And will it maybe be near the top of my Zelda games I love? Probably so.
Yeah.
Like I think they're only getting better for the most part. Every one they do. So I am hopeful. I am with arms wide open. With arms wide open.
Kate,
What?
did you start the timer for the segment or no?
Yeah, 3:37 left.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
You're not in it.
Mine's not going. Okay. Well, anyway. Okay. So I'm sorry. I just had to kind of get a framework for where we were.
We have 3.5
in
minutes.
Time. We were gonna do trivia. Let's go. Let's push trivia.
No, we're doing trivia at the end.
Okay. Second before. Because like when I think about how I see and like rank Zelda in anything. Right? Like Zelda is my favorite franchise, like in totality, right?
Congratulations.
When I look at it and we start talking about it up against things like Red Dead, Horizon, even like Assassin's Creed, like honestly, put it up against these other like long, like drawn out kind of epics, right? I think Zelda barely tells a coherent story across all of it, right? It's the timeline is fractured. You gotta kind of reach in some areas to do all sorts of stuff. That being said, I think that I lean on what I look to get out of a game experience from tip to tail, right? So with Zelda, it is by far, like the series is by far my favorite, like adventure, exploration, and gameplay series.
Okay.
Story-wise, I'm kind of here for the story.
I don't.
In and out. Like
I know they've made some sort of timeline for all the games, like how they're supposed to go together. I don't. It does not matter at all.
I have it. I have it in a book.
I feel like they only made that timeline. They only made that timeline after like fans were like making the timeline. Like, oh yeah, you want a timeline? Here it is. Like this is a timeline. And I wonder how much we'll see more of that going forward. Like my boys and I tend to agree that this will be both a sequel and like it'll be the ending and the beginning of the Zelda story. Like where Skyward Sword was the beginning of the Zelda story, this is like the end and then back into the beginning.
I could see that.
So
honestly, I would be okay with that.
I'd
be completely fine with that. Here's the thing, like I saw a theory even yesterday that Ganondorf, who has been shown to at least be in the game, it's still up in the air. Is he the bad guy? Right? Like,
but he's in it.
Is he the villain? like the villain. You know, it's one of those things where like he's in it and it's going to be great, it's going to be fine, but people are wondering, is he taking kind of a Thanos approach to collecting these tiers of the kingdom? Because he has this necklace on him that's got like all these
tears.
spots.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how he's, you know, acquiring power and stuff like that? Who raised him from his mummified state? Like all these different things. Like people are already starting to speculate wildly about what the story is going to be. We had none of that kind of speculation last time, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm here for that, because Breath of the Wild was a brand new story arc, right? We had some familiar faces, but it was basically a brand new story arc. Now we have this continuation, like a true, legitimate continuation of where we were. So it leads to anticipation and speculation and all that good stuff. I think, personally speaking, that's where all of these other games, that's where they have the leg up, right? Almost every new Zelda thing you get into.
Oh, you think so?
It's a fresh start, man. Like it's issue 1
that is
of a
true.
series.
That
so
is
now
true.
having this continuation, I think it gives people it like not even a jumping on, but it continue like we're moving forward in where we were, and it creates a drive and theories and, you know, things that are pushing forward. And so
you think it's going to have the Star Wars Marvel
good
effect,
point.
where it's going to be high expectations and it's not going to meet them?
I don't think so.
It's Nintendo. I think
Yeah.
they do a pretty good job.
Yeah,
of
I
following
agree.
through.
I think we all would have said the same thing about Star Wars, though, if I'm being real. And so, is there room? Yeah, there's room for failure for sure. But I think Nintendo's on a hot streak right now, and so
I agree.
anyway,
There you
that's
go.
my 2 cents. So, hey, we are going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we want to hear from you guys. What do you think about all this stuff? Where are you with Tears of the Kingdom? Do you think it's going to be worth it? Do you think it's going to be hot, wet garbage? Is it something that you're excited about? Matt has already planned. He doesn't plan anything this far in advance. He's already
know.
planned his entire
Oh,
week.
what?
It's already
Come
blocked
on.
out on the calendar, literally.
He put it on
It's
his calendar.
there.
And so, like,
I don't want you messing with me that day. Leave me alone.
Where
Okay?
are
I'm
you
not
in the
gonna
grand
touch
scheme
it.
of things? But hey,